There we go. I'm Andre Haynes from the Armed Forces Chamber PAC, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the third joint endorsement interview for the endorsements of Veterans and Politics International, Nevada Democratic Veterans and Military Families Caucus, Nevada Veterans Association, and the Armed Forces Chamber PAC. We'd like to thank our sponsors, the Foreign Exchange, Ava Bravo, Justice of the Peace Department 2 candidate, Shelley Berkeley, Las Vegas Mayor candidate, and Christian Bishop, Nevada State District 5 candidate. Please remember to support the silent auction. And now we're going to turn over the portion of the interviews to our moderator, Patricia Lee, Nevada Supreme Court Justice.
Thank you, Andre, and thank you to our esteemed panelists for asking really thoughtful questions today. I know it's been long, but this is our last one. And thank you for coming today to the candidates. We are really looking forward to hearing what you have to say. I've been asked to explain the interview process, and so I will do so right now. The panel members will begin by introducing themselves by giving their name, position, and the organization they represent. Then each of you will be given 1 minute to introduce yourselves. Please include why you are running and seeking the endorsements of the agencies represented here today. Candidates, please remember this is an interview, not a debate. So when asked a question from a panel member, you will direct your answer to the panel members only. When you receive a question from a panel member, you will be given 1 minute to answer their question. Andre will be the timekeeper. Once you receive the yellow card, you will be given 15 seconds to wrap up. Once you are given the red card, Andre will cut you off and charge you $100 apparently. And at the conclusion of the interview, we would ask that each candidate take a minute to offer a closing statement and explain why you are running for office and why you are seeking these particular endorsements. So with that, we will go ahead and get started. Why don't we start with Mr. DeFalco this time?
Sure. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Again, Matthew DeFalco, Nevada Democratic Veterans and Military Families Caucus. My question is, should America... What? Okay, Matthew DeFalco.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we were supposed to do... I thought we were doing the introductions. I apologize. Go ahead.
All right. It's been a long day. It is.
It has been. That was my fault. I dropped the ball on that one. Right. Mr. DeFalco, can you say which agency you are with?
Nevada Democratic Veterans and Military Families Caucus.
Thank you.
Martin Walker, Veterans and Politics International.
We're all tired. Good evening, good afternoon, and thank you for coming. Mikey Kelly, Nevada Democratic Veterans and Military Families Caucus.
Gary White, Montfort Point Marine Association. I'm representing Nevada Democratic Veterans Military Family Caucus.
Mr. Treffinger?
Tim Treffinger, Veterans and Politics International.
Andre Haynes, Armed Forces Chamber PAC, and the $100 man.
Oh, God. Patsy Brown, Armed Forces Chamber PAC.
Yvonne Malone, Veterans and Politics International.
Madeline Kelly, Nevada Democrat Veterans.
Thank you. And then we will, before we get back to Mr. DeFalco and his question, we'll go ahead and allow the candidates 1 minute to introduce themselves and to tell us why you're running and seeking these endorsements. Why don't we start on this end with Mr. Walker?
Hello, my name is Troy Zakari Walker, and I am a native of Nevada, and I chose to run because I have a 1-year-old niece who, when I looked into her eyes when she was born, I said, we have to do better. We have to do better with our children, with our health care, with so many of the things that our families are facing.
Thank you. Oh, please introduce yourself.
Hello. My name is Gary Marinch. I've been in Las Vegas since 1976, originally from Cleveland, Ohio, Vietnam veteran. I've always loved politics. When I ran in 2004 in the Natural Law Party, and I told my kids that if you want to do something, you should do it while you're reasonably young because you don't want to be a shoulda, coulda, woulda person, and then you look back and say, well, I should have done that. My dad moved out here in 1989 with my mother. He passed away in he moved out here in 1986. In 1989, he passed away. And I told him that I promised him I was going to complete my mission. And my mission, as I told my kids and my wife, was to do something better for this state. And I feel we have an obligation to...
Thank you, Mr. Marinch. Again, just as a reminder, the yellow card indicates that you have 15 seconds left, and then the red card indicates the end of your time. Ms. Phillips?
My name is Stephanie Phillips, and I am running for the United States Senate. I have lived in Nevada over 30 years. I'm a business owner. I'm a founder of a nonprofit that helps hungry kids and trafficked kids. And I am seeking this endorsement because I am a military mom. My brother-in-law is a retired Green Beret. My kid's father is a retired Air Force. He served for 25 years. Veteran issues are at the top of my platform alongside children. It's very important to me. I would be honored to have your endorsement. I have sat on your side in your chairs many times. Thank you for taking the time to do this. Thank you for being involved. I appreciate everybody here today.
Thank you. Mr. Uehling?
Yes, my name is Ed Uehling. First of all, I want to thank this panel. They've done a fantastic job today. I've been here all day, and the questions that are asked are just great. I moved here with my parents as a 3-year-old in 1943 during World War II. And that was the last war I was involved in a positive way with. We gathered, we would go around as kids and gather grease, household grease and aluminum and metal to be sent to the war. I marched against the war in Washington, D.C. when I worked there. The Vietnam War, and so I'm sort of the odd duck here. I've seen the politicians come and claim that they're working on behalf of the people. They are not. They are working on behalf of the Wall Street casinos. That's who they work on behalf of.
Thank you. Mr. Maslow?
Hello, my name is Chris Maslow. I'm here to save America from the Uniparty, and the Republican and Democratic Party have ran us $35 trillion in debt. They have no hope to get us out. They send us to wars. They have no hope to winning. I'm hoping that if you guys would endorse me, I could help to change that. Thank you.
Mr. Maybe.
Hi, I'm Garn Maybe. I've been in Las Vegas for about 39 years. I'm a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist. I previously served in the Nevada State Assembly. I served there for 3 terms. I was the minority leader my last term. And the reason I'm running is I grew up in a little town in Idaho, a little farming community. I was around great men and women who were leaders. They were politicians, some of them, and I admired them. And they were my role models. And I want to be like them, and I want to make a difference. And I think, and I know the way our country is going, it's not the right way. And so I just want to participate, do my best to make changes that I think would be better for all of us.
Thank you, Dr. Maybe. Let's start with Mr. DeFalco with the first question, please.
Thank you. I'll keep it short and sweet. Should America be supporting Ukraine and Israel?
Can we start with Dr. Maybe, please, and work our way down?
So a minute, is that how long I get? Okay, thank you. Okay. So, yes and no. I want them to work out some type of agreement, some settlement. I personally feel like we'll just keep fighting and using our resources. If I was a mom in Ukraine and I had an 18-year-old son and they asked me, do you want my son to go to the front lines to fight, to get back that part of Russia, I would say no. And so I hope we can come up with some settlement. Until that time, we have to support Ukraine. That's how I feel. But we need to work towards some type of peace agreement, settlement. Otherwise, I think we'll just keep fighting and fighting. Oh, in Israel? For sure. Again, Israel's our friend, but I want there to be some type of way to settle that. I just don't think this fighting is going to keep working. I mean, the Palestinians aren't going to like the Israelis after what's gone on, and so somehow we just have to work some type of peace settlement.
Thank you. Mr. Maslow?
I think absolutely not. We shouldn't be funding these wars. We can't even protect our own border. It's wide open. We're $35 trillion in debt, and there's no hope to turn it around. There's no hope to secure our border with the current administration the way it's going. If we can't secure our borders, why are we fighting to secure other borders? How much money are we going to spend fighting these other wars? How many more kids have to die in these wars before we can actually protect our land? Did Russia attack us? Did anybody attack us from Palestine? Why are we fighting all these other wars for people that didn't do nothing to us? Regime change is getting old. Fighting to end terrorism, they didn't attack us. The terrorists are gone. The ones that attacked us are dead. We should move on.
Thank you. Mr. Uehling?
Yes, Chris states it better than I do. Absolutely not. We should be supporting. We're the country that's all over the world creating these wars. We've killed 20 million people since World War II with all these wars that we've been provoking. We're seeing it on the border. We've changed the government of all these countries in South America, imposed dictators on them, thrown them out of helicopters, all these other things. And that's what's happening in the border today. As far as Israel is concerned, I supported Israel in 1948. But when the Israelis went in there, the Jewish people went in, they took the houses of these people and just took them over and put them in this concentration camp that they call Gaza. And this war did not start on October 7th. It started in 1948. And what is going on in Gaza is absolutely savage.
Thank you, Mr. Uehling. Ms. Phillips?
As far as Ukraine goes, I don't believe there has been any meaningful peace talks. There's no plan, there's no mission. This could be another one of those endless wars that we get ourselves into. We keep funding this, and there's been no accountability. I believe there needs to be an audit of those funds, find out where they have gone, and I believe that our priority should be our own border, our own country, before we fund anything else. As far as Israel goes, yes, I absolutely support Israel. They are our greatest ally, and yes, we should support them because what happened to them, the terrorists are absolute savages, and what they did to those people is outrageous, and they have every right to defend themselves.
Thank you. Mr. Marinch?
I definitely support those countries. But I also feel that as a Vietnam veteran, we don't need another Vietnam. Fighting a war that you can't win. We need to do things for our people here. I propose doing some fundraisers for homeless, ASPCA, the animals that are left out on the streets. Do things for America, not for other countries. I don't even think we should be sending them money. We need to take care of this country. This is one of the greatest cities and states to live in, Las Vegas, Nevada. And we should be thankful. I think we should also be ashamed, but we have animals running around on the street, and nobody's taking care of them. And I plan to do a fundraiser and get casinos and Mark Davis, the aviators, involved. And they will.
Thank you, Mr. Marinch. Mr. Walker?
I believe we first need to define what support looks like. Do I believe we should be sending money to Israel and Ukraine to help the wars? Not when we have homeless here, not when affordable housing is almost impossible to get, not when we have border issues, not when we have all these things that Americans are facing. We first have to worry about ourselves and our country, especially the state of Nevada, before we go out and beyond to help other countries.
Thank you. Let's go to Mr. Treffinger.
Thank you, Madam Justice. So we have an ongoing issue in this state. While we're growing larger and larger and attracting all these different business interests and expanding, what's going up is our crime rate, but more specifically, we're seeing a large uptick in human and sex trafficking in and out of Nevada, especially in Las Vegas and Reno. What do you believe you can do on day one to start stemming this crisis of human and sex trafficking?
Let's start with Mr. Maslow.
Well, for one, I think we need to close the border down because that's where a lot of the sex trafficking comes from. What was the other part of the question? I'm sorry.
Just what can you do to stem the tide in general across the state and the country?
Well, I think as the representative for Nevada, I would have to look to my constituents and see what they would think would be the best. I think that's what a lot of people miss when they get to Washington. They get there and they just forget who got them there and why they're there. And I think that's a big focus that we need accountability when politicians get there. They need to be accountable to their constituents more.
Thank you. Mr. Uehling.
Yes. My concern about the sex trafficking is that it seems to be a religious issue, that certain religious people simply do not want anyone to have sex outside of marriage and want to impose that on the whole population. I know as growing up as a young man in Boulder City in the 1950s and being attracted to boys rather than girls, considering, well, should I commit suicide or what do I do? And that's we just simply can't have that sort of discrimination against people and against non-Christians and that want to impose their point of view on all of us. And the sex trafficking, I think, is being used for that purpose.
Thank you. Ms. Phillips?
Thank you, and thank you for the question, because I have been involved in children's charities over 30 years, and one in particular has fought trafficking, rescuing children internationally and domestically. I have known about this problem for many decades. I have donated thousands and thousands of dollars, a lot of hours of my time. I have been very involved in this, and that was a motivation for me to found my own nonprofit to help children in our valley. So I'm very well-versed in this subject, and it's something that I have fought against for a long time. Nevada is the second highest per capita state in the country for trafficking. It's definitely an issue at the federal level. I would get manpower, resources, a lot more money to fight this $150 billion industry. As of right now, I talked to a gentleman who is on a federal task force. They said that they give him 12 to 13 million only to fight this. We need much more money. We need to close the border. That is a huge problem, and that is facilitating more trafficking. So it's something that elected officials do not talk about enough, and we need to pay a lot more attention to this, and I intend to do that as your United States Senator.
Thank you. Mr. Marinch?
First of all, yes, I think we should come down hard on people that are involved in sex trafficking. I think we should, first of all, police, firemen, and teachers should get raises. We should fund something to go after sex traffickers. I believe in capital punishment, and I believe in the right to bear arms. And we should put them in jail and then leave them there. And then, other than that, let's take care of our state. Raise money. I want to raise money for homeless. ASPCA. And I know I can get people to do it. I can get casinos, Mark Davis from the Raiders, the Aviators. There's plenty of ways to do this. That's all I have to say. But I don't want to be. I don't want to be nice to these people. I want to crush them.
Thank
And
you.
I promise I'll do it.
Thank you.
And I'm not going to Washington to get along with anybody either.
Okay, Mr. Walker.
I believe we need to bring awareness to the issue. Not just throw money at it, but also connect with the different generations so that we can break the stigma to where some people find it cool and actually create more safe spaces where the individuals that are being sex trafficked can go when they are able to flee, if they are able. Also, create like some type of signs where if they are in a sex trafficking environment, they can show signs or anything to where we can help them. Also, we need to get on social media, create digital platforms. A lot of prevention needs to happen as well as intervention.
Thank you. Dr. Maybe.
The things that come to my mind is, one is we need to support our families better. I can't imagine. I have 4 daughters, and they had a mom and a dad, and so I don't think my daughters ever had to contemplate that. And so I think our families are suffering, and we need to support our families. So our daughters and our mothers or whoever would never even contemplate that as an option. I think anybody involved in it should be prosecuted and put in jail or prison and not be lenient on them. And last, I think there is a problem with the border, and that problem needs to be resolved, or at least something done so that we can prevent all these young ladies coming over the border and being mistreated. So those are the things that I would look at. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Maybe. Let's go to Mr. Walker for the next question.
You keep confusing me because you keep saying Mr. Walker, and I keep looking at you.
Right, I apologize.
We're not related, but hey, cousin, how you doing?
Right. Well, we had a Lee on the last panel, so yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, good afternoon to all of you. So, our country is facing realistic threat from China, and Iran, through its proxies, is making the Middle East a powder keg ready to blow. The average American person is unaware of the gravity of the threats to our national security. It makes it easy for people to make statements like, we shouldn't be over there, we shouldn't be supplying money to here. And maybe it's because us in uniform are doing our job, so you can go about your daily lives and be unaware. However, there are threats that are going on that really people should know about. But unfortunately, patriotism is at an all-time low. So how do you think the government can improve its level of transparency without jeopardizing national security to maybe educate more people on what's really going on in the world so they can understand how and why their tax dollars are being spent in other places?
Mr. Uehling.
Yes, I'm curious, who is going to attack the United States? Give me a break. The United States is the safest country in the world. It's protected by 2 oceans. No one has any dreams about attacking the United States. But the United States has dreams about attacking other countries. We have 170 bases outside of our country. We've overturned countless governments. We've killed, as I said before, 20 million people just since World War II. No other country even comes close to that. We have 0 friends in the world, well, except for Israel. The rest of the United Nations is voting against us at every chance they get. We've created all this chaos in Latin America and all over the world. And so we've got to stop doing that.
Thank you. Ms. Phillips?
I believe that we owe the American citizens as much honesty, transparency as possible. I realize there's things that, national security issues that we can't disclose, but I believe all of the politicians, every elected official should be as transparent as possible. As far as China goes, we need to hold them accountable. Our government let their spy balloons fly across our entire country without answer, really. And we have China buying our farmland. Why are we allowing that? That is a national security risk. Also, they're siphoning information through the TikTok app. We've had that in the news lately. There are so many things that we need to hold our adversaries accountable for. And we've got a lot of work to do as far as that is concerned, but that is only going to happen when we have elected officials in office who are going to stand up for Americans and stand up for our national security. And I will be one of those.
Thank you. Mr. Marinch?
Yes, I don't, as far as China goes, I don't think that we're getting any truth out of Washington, because I don't think they bleeping care to give us the truth about what's going on. So the only thing we can do is support people around the world, support China. If they're going to come in and buy stuff here, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just like the borders. You can't stop people from coming in. I'm more interested in. I don't believe anything that the Mitch McConnells and Bill Clintons has told us over the years. I think they're all a bunch of liars. And whatever we think is going on in China, we don't know the truth. There's no possible way. They're telling us one story, and it might be something else. There's no. I'm not interested in getting along with them. I'm going to go there and fight them, because it's just a good old boy network. That's all it's ever been.
Thank you, Mr. Marinch.
And make America great again.
Mr. Walker?
I believe the first thing we need to do is secure our borders and take national security seriously, because at any time, someone can strike America. And so what we need to do is make sure that we are being transparent. And as United States Senator, one of my goals is to go back to having town halls and regular opportunities where the citizens can meet and talk with their representative. And information can be passed down, and information can be passed up to where we are actually being accountable to the people that we represent.
Thank you. Dr. Maybe?
Ms. Walker, the answer to your first question, I don't know if most people are going to be that interested in what goes on. You know, I wish they were more engaged. How I feel about the Middle East, I think we should try to reduce our exposure as much as possible. I mean, look what happened in Afghanistan and Iraq, and we have to support Israel, but I think a lot of our problems stem from just being there. We need to have a very strong defense, and I would support us building up our defense and keeping it strong. As far as China, they're dishonest people. You know, their leader, the people are great, but their leader, and I think we have to keep a dialogue. We just don't want to go to war. We need to try to keep things peaceful and to prevent armed engagements, which hurts everybody. So that's how I would try to answer your question. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Maslow?
Well, the first problem is China owns a lot of our politicians, and it's obvious. They vote to keep trade with them. They have up until Trump came into office, they didn't even have taxes on their goods. That's killing our economy. We're buying goods from them that we could be making here. So I think the first thing we need to do is we need to investigate how deep China has ties into our politicians. Second, I think we actually need to hold accountability to all these politicians and their spending and not helping Americans. I think that the accountability is the big thing, and we need to really start investigating where this money is going and where it's coming from and whose pockets it's lining.
Thank you. Mr. Haynes, do you have a question for the panelist?
Yes, I do. Thank you. And it's for all of you. Prior to filing to run in this election, do you have any experience in public office or being involved in committees or boards of municipalities or government agencies?
We're going to start with Ms. Phillips this time.
I have not been in public office before, and this is my first run. I think it's the best thing about me because I'm a political outsider. I am not owned by anybody. No mega donors in my campaign. Will not bow to the establishment or corruption. I have been a business owner here 19 years. I have been in this town over 30 years. And in my real estate business, I serve, negotiate, and represent Nevadans. I'm the only one in this race that has an entire career representing Nevadans, negotiating for them. I mediate, advocate, and I represent their best interest. And that I will take to Washington. I will do the same thing and represent the people for the right reasons. And I will represent we the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Marinch?
What was the question?
Mr. Haynes, can you repeat the question?
Sure. Well, prior to filing to